Mets tried hard for Yamamoto. Clearly, they need an ace. How hard will they try for one this offseason?
I do think that it's something that they will try for. How hard they try depends on who becomes available in a trade. Certainly, if a Tarik Skubal or Sandy Alcantara, who is more expected to become available, or Joe Ryan in Minnesota, if these guys become available in trades and the industry can bid on these guys with prospects, the Mets will be in on any of these people. The big question to me is whether the Pirates would ever make, obviously, Paul Skenes available. Nobody in the industry thinks that they will right now. It seems like, well, those Pirate fans would just like burn down the ballpark if they traded Skenes. You have to build around him. But that would be obviously the top dream for any team because he's got years of control and he's Paul Skenes. But looking a little bit more realistically, like the first time we hear realistically the Tigers are like, say, shopping Skubal, 100% we can assume that the Mets are in on that, one of the teams. They know they need an ace and they're going to try.
Yeah, and I think it's about time. I mean, for a while, there was this idea that they could get by with good enough pitching and then kind of supplement with that bullpen. But look at the Brewers, look at the Phillies, look at the Dodgers, look at the Yankees. All four of these teams were top 5 in rotational ERA. So when you think about this, you see this is what plays in the postseason, and this is what gets you there. You know, I was looking at that, like, famous Mets collapse at June 13th date. And it was interesting because between June 13th and the end of the season, their run differential was negative 44.
Is that good?
That's not great.
Oh,
yeah, it's actually typically not great. In addition to that, though, they were scoring more runs. They went from 4.62 runs per game to 4.73. So what does this mean? It means their pitching wasn't there. And the biggest reason their pitching wasn't there, one of the big reasons their pitching wasn't there, was because these guys were going very, very short. They were taxing the bullpen, putting the team in the hole. The at-bats look different. They were just like in this untenable position. And what you need in that situation is a stopper. You need an ace who can say, okay, that's enough, I got this.
Is this a change in philosophy? Because Stearns doesn't seem... Oh, okay, so he wants an ace, he just doesn't want to pay...
Because, to be clear, I still do not see David Stearns paying a Blake Snell or a Max Fried, just to use a couple examples of the guys that were available in the free agent market last year. He's very confident in an organization that he oversees being able to develop high-level pitching. They want to develop guys and sign them. They don't want to develop Corbin Burns and then what they want to do is develop their own Corbin Burns rather than going out and signing the free agent Corbin Burns, which is what Stearns did in Milwaukee. So picture the Stearns version on the Mets is you draft Corbin Burns, you develop Corbin Burns, then you extend Corbin Burns, whereas the Brewers had to let him go in free agency. So no, there isn't a change. It's just that the need is that much more clear because of what Laura just described and because what we all watched the second half of the season. This is a team that's clearly in need of an ace. I mean, imagine Nolan McLean as a number 2 is perfect because that guy has pitchability. He's got spin. The only little nitpick that keeps him from being a Tarik Skubal type is that there's like a tick or two of velocity on his fastball that he doesn't have that those guys have. That's why I love McLean as a high-end number 2. Throwing 94, 95, not 97, 98. So ace, then McLean. That would be the idea.
Right. A rotation. A number 1 starter, a number 2 starter, 3, 4, and 5.
And then a bunch of piggybacking, of course. Is that what you want?
Whatever. I don't need 3 aces. I don't need 4, 5 starters. So that's what the Mets have done. With Epler, it was, get, DeGrom, Scherzer, all these top. You don't need all of that. Give me 1 ace, a number 2 starter, 3, 4, and so on down the line. Let's make the call to the bullpen and welcome in Todd Zeile. Todd, what do you think is the Mets' offseason priority, or what it should be here this offseason?
Well, you guys nailed it. I mean, we've been speaking about it right now. I think we were talking about it a lot towards the end of the season. Certainly the Mets pitching as a whole let them down the stretch. But you really got to look at the starting pitching. And, you led into this segment talking about some of the dominant performances in the playoffs. And if that's not a great indication, nothing else is. You even look at Toronto, who rolled past the Yankees with kind of outslugging them. Well, now they've been shut down by great pitching in Seattle. So at the end of the day, it's one thing to get to where you want to go, and that means playoff, which they weren't able to do this year. It's another thing to be able to go deep into October, and that you have to have great starting pitching for. And so I think the priority right now is pitching.
And I think that Stearns has said, and would probably continue to say, there are a lot of different ways to build like a full pitching staff. So I think in addition to what we're saying, they know that they have a lot of bullpen needs to address. Edwin Diaz potentially and likely a free agent, obviously. So from that on down, they're going to fill the innings. I think the top of the rotation is going to be a focus, but also they're going to continue to look at it in that way we've seen from Stearns. And what, aside from the fact that the Brewers are down in their series right now, best team in baseball all year, through that run prevention, in building an entire pitching staff, along with the run prevention and the defense. We've seen how amazingly athletic the Brewers are, too, and that's another direction in terms of run prevention, of course, that Stearns wants to go.